All right. What's up? How you doing?
Doing good. Yourself?
Very good. Very excited to talk again. It's been forever. So, episode one of the Eat Acting podcast, but I don't know how many episodes we did before.
And we had some unreleased content too.
Oh my gosh. Maybe I'll still make those and release them.
It was a good run. It was a good start.
Yeah. How many did we do
I think
and
it's gonna be good.
like release on YouTube?
We had 10 full-length episodes.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I'll still make those and just release them whenever they're ready, like randomly. Cool. So, really simple. Episode one, we're kind of just gonna talk about what acting is in general, give our takes, maybe a little discussion about it, our experience with it. That would be pretty cool too. And I guess like maybe our kind of like future with it, whatever you think you'll do. So, I guess to start, we'll start with the really easy, simple question. What is acting? What do you think acting is?
So acting is obviously an art form of being able to empathize with someone that's not yourself, but in a whole way to where you're really stepping into their shoes. And of course, that's fictional or non-fictional for like the true story movies or shows or
Yeah.
whatever. I think it's really pushing not only your mental capacity, but also your physical capacity into going somewhere that you wouldn't normally go, getting into a headspace that is uncomfortable for you. And that's the type of acting that speaks to me. Of course, there's also just like the surface level, like entertaining aspect, wanting to be funny, wanting to please an audience. Um, and that's great too. Uh, but when I think of like the pure like art form of acting, it's really just embodying something other than yourself
Hmm.
and like reading a script, reading about a character, and just trying to get in their headspace.
Yeah, I wholly agree with everything you said, and I think like the angle you were talking about it mostly was kind of like from the actor's perspective, right? And then like a little bit at the end talking about like the audience's perspective. But as far as like the actor's perspective, like I only realized this like pretty recently, but I think similarly to what you said is like something I love so much about acting is if you really get beyond the surface level and like just try and become like someone else for a short amount of time, it's like really like therapeutic and like relieving because it's like for minutes or even hours it's like you are not yourself and you get a break from being your actual identity and you get to just be someone else because if other than acting, it's like when do you ever get a break from being yourself? You know what I mean? And it's I never even realized that until way later that that's I think something I really liked and craved about acting is only when you really enter that flow state, like when you really are absorbed in the character, it's like it just feels so different to be someone else and it's a really nice break and you feel refreshed when the show's over and you're yourself again. You know what I mean? And that's like from my personal perspective, like the actor's perspective. And I guess as far as from the audience's perspective, and maybe all the people involved in the production of whatever medium you're in, I feel like they're really closely tied with maybe with the writer of the piece. Since you're saying their words, right? So it's kind of just whatever the initial storyteller, the writer, it had in mind. It's like acting is basically personifying words, whatever the writer wrote, right? That's kind of how I look at it from the two different angles.
Yeah, I agree with that. And um, I've always viewed acting or being a part of like a show or something as therapeutic.
Hmm.
Um, and not only for the actor, but also I hope for the audience as well,
Mm-hmm.
that they come in and they're able to just escape for an hour or so.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons that's why I've stuck with it for so long and why certain performances in movies really stick with me. There's like a popular phrase, like a comfort movie.
Hmm.
I just watch this movie when I'm bored or when I'm sick or when I'm having a bad day. Um, and I used to think that was kind of silly,
Hmm.
but recently I've like discovered that there are certain movies I go to when I just like crave that kind of comfort, you know. Um, and one thing I realized recently is most of them are Michael Cera movies. You
That's pretty
know,
funny.
Scott, I love Scott Pilgrim. I've seen that movie
Yeah,
so many times. I love Superbad. I love Juno. Those are like my comfort movies, and they're all Michael Cera movies. I don't know what that means. Um,
I was not expecting that at all. You talk about those movies all the time though, so I should have seen it coming.
yeah,
Yeah.
I recently watched Scott Pilgrim again because of the Netflix anime that came
Hmm.
out. And that was really good, and then it made me want to watch it. But it's been a while since I've seen those besides Scott Pilgrim, I guess. So might need to be revisiting those soon.
Nice. That's awesome. Man, I don't know what the only comfort movie I know I have, and it's barely a comfort movie because I've only seen it a few times, but is Good Will Hunting. I know that like I always enter just like some other like state whenever I watch that movie, and it's always really nice. It's usually very sad and depressing, but also like hopeful at the end. But I don't know what I have other than that. Maybe it would be Star Wars movies. Watch that a lot, but that's just like a familial thing, you know what I mean? Like, and Lord of the Rings, like we watch those a lot too, but
I need to
personally,
revisit those. It's
both of
probably
them.
been about 6 years or more. No, probably more than that since I've seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
No way, really?
Yeah. I used to
Dang.
watch them all the time,
Uh-huh.
and then yeah, I have the three of them on Blu-ray, and they used to be my comfort movie. I used to watch them every time I was sick or like had nothing else to do.
Hmm.
But it's been a while. I should rewatch them.
Man.
Um, I feel like I had another one that was kind of like what Good Will Hunting kind of does to you, where it's how did you describe it again? It was right there, and now it's gone.
It's like I enter like a different state. Like, yeah.
Um, you know, I think for a while it probably was what we're going to talk about, because I don't know, I just felt very like that script, that
Hmm.
character was really speaking to me,
Yeah.
and kind of what I was going through at the time I was watching it.
Mm.
But we'll get into all that in a minute.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Um, but man, you know, I've described acting and being in shows and stuff as therapeutic, and another way that was is kind of more recent as well. You know, the past like maybe 2 or 3 years is it's like man, say I were to just like pursue acting, pursue a career in that. I truly believe now more than ever that if I was like in one movie and I just spoke to like one person like the same way that like Scott Pilgrim speaks to me, Good Will Hunting speaks to you. You know, all of our just like favorite performances or actors, like I could just live off that. That like I
Oh,
think I would be super satisfied.
oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Um, no matter like if it's just some goofy movie or if it's like one just like super big passion project. And that's just where I've been lately. So whenever I like view a movie or I like view that like a certain actor I like isn't, you know, in the spotlight as much lately, I just hope that they know somehow that their previous work is still entertaining an audience to
Hmm.
this day. And I hope that brings them satisfaction. In the same way I hope it would bring me.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome, man. Never even, yeah, thought about it that way. Thought about, what did you just do?
This
Oh,
is just
you're
an absurd straw. Sorry.
I was like thinking, and I just like in my peripheral saw like your teeth flashing, and I was like, "What is happening? What drink is that?"
Sorry. Oh, I was just brought a cold brew from a coffee place. Anyway,
So, overview basically what acting is. All that's left is oh my God.
you good?
I am. Okay. I just remembered something I really want to talk about. Oh my gosh, I'm so mad.
Oh no. Okay. I'm
This
down.
is really funny. Okay.
Is
So
this
basically,
embarrassing?
what?
Is it embarrassing?
Yes.
Never mind. Oh,
not
yeah. Okay.
not for us, but I feel the secondhand embarrassment of what I'm about to show you. So I'll just like while I'm like sorry, while I'm searching for it, I'll like briefly talk about what it is. So basically, something I wanted to talk about since we're just talking about acting in general is these freaking shorts I saw about what acting is. And it just really made my skin crawl here, I'll just explain it real quick. So one of them was really not that bad. Like this is not the one I'm like cringing about. It's basically it's this person and they're acting out two performances. Like I think they're lip syncing in a song or something, right? And one performance is very overt and one is very subtle. And so they're saying that's real acting is the more subtle you are, right? And that's annoying to me because it's just simplifying and generalizing it way too much because subtle acting in the right context is perfect. Subtle acting in the wrong context is like terrible acting. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing for overacting. That's how I feel about it. But that one's not that bad. It's kind of like it makes sense that you want, I guess, like when people get into acting, I know I did this myself. You're kind of really interested in just like being really loud and outrageous and really showing that you can display emotions, right? So it usually is overacting or really overindulgent, right? So that one kind of made sense. But what do you think about that? Like before I get onto the really cringy one.
Thank you so much for asking my opinion on this because I have one.
Oh, good.
I think this goes directly into what you said about how acting is a personification of the script and of the
Mm,
words.
hmm.
So if the script calls for subtlety, that's what you give it. If it calls for big over the top, that's what you give it. You
Hmm.
cannot say one is better than the other.
Absolutely. Gosh. And like and to be fair to that person, like generally people get into like, theater or whatever and they're like really over the top and they have to learn that subtlety is also an option as well. And so I guess that's what she was trying to say or the person was trying to say, but this other one, oh my gosh, just really pisses me off.
I'm so mad about the whole good acting is only subtle because a, a truly great performance, I think, does have both. Specifically, well, we talked about a good one, Nightcrawler,
Oh
um,
yeah. Yeah.
where he's super subtle sometimes and then flips out in other times. And then, but whenever I think about a really good balance of subtle and over the top and scary, I think of There Will Be Blood, Daniel
Mhm.
Day Lewis's character. Have you seen that movie?
I have not.
Yeah,
I need to.
he is just like he just portrays himself as like just one of the most chill, just super cool, fly, businessmen throughout most of the movie. But then every once in a while, he gets a little over the top. He gets a little kind of loses it sometimes,
Uh-huh.
and I just think it's brilliant. Um, so I'm mad at that stuff. I don't care that. I mean, I don't think whoever says that deserves any credit.
Damn. Okay, so here's the premise. The video was titled like good versus bad acting, right? Already, it's like to piss me off. So in the two scenes they displayed, okay, one scene, which they started with, which was the bad acting, right? They're trying to set you up for the really good one. So the first one is some I don't know what it is. It's probably a series, maybe it's a movie, but it's about um these like rich girls in like a store like not getting what they want or something and so they're like whining and it's like really funny and over the top, right? uh and then it said that's bad acting, and then what they showed as good acting was some show or movie that's just domestic violence. So and like both of the acting, what I'm assuming, and again, it's out of context, so I don't freaking know if it's like good or bad acting, but like both of the acting from like their respective mediums seemed like very good performances, actually. Um, but I don't even know where to start. It just pisses me off that like, and this was like a trend where it's like there's usually like just this intensity, there's this screaming, there's violence. It's usually in some
White
sort of
guys
like,
screaming is
yeah, white
always
guys
viewed
screaming
as
at
good
women or
acting.
other people. Oh my gosh.
That's
Yeah.
why I was like kind of hesitant to bring up Blood because there's
Yeah.
a scene that's always referenced as like peak acting, and it's just him screaming.
Yeah.
Great, but it's just a cliche. Um, but I mean, I can't deny it. It is a great performance.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I totally agree that there's just this. It's a cliche of just someone screaming or like beating someone up,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Wow."
It's so good.
Yeah, okay, intensity is good,
Yeah.
but, there's levels. I would love to, like, at some point in this on this new journey that we're on,
Yeah.
to, like, find, really strong and I kinda mentioned this offline, but, like, really strong. I just caught a fly. Really strong comedic performances.
Yeah.
Because normally, dramatic performance is viewed as like really good acting, which it is. But I just think the kind of like really intelligent comedic side, I think gets forgotten about a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it would be fun to explore that as well.
Yeah. Love to do that as well. Yeah. I don't know. I think like the reason people like think this way maybe about acting, where it's like it's all about intensity or some kind of like tragedy or violence or something, right? Is since we live in a society, since we like are, pretty, I don't know, like survival needs are met, civilization, and just we have all these, rules and laws that kind of keep us all in order to some degree. I feel like actors getting lost in performances where they're doing something violent or having some amount of intensity.
To say the most common like method acting is like the abusive people, you
Exactly,
know.
right? Yeah. So I think since a lot of, cave people, violence was a very necessary part of the human experience and human condition. And I don't think that that's really like phased out whatsoever, even though civilization wise and society wise, we've like just, expanded and, established ourselves so quickly that there's just this side of us that like really is like kind of being undermined, with the lives we live in. So when people see it expressed in some way, it's like really enthralling or whatever, right? And also, the actors, they don't get to be that way ever. And when you have a part that demands that, it's probably very, you know, enticing and enthralling as well.
You could say it's therapeutic
Yeah,
also.
exactly.
That's why, I mean, it's why Grand Theft Auto 5 is like one of the most sold games ever.
Yeah, yeah,
But then
exactly.
again, okay, I'm going to redact that because Minecraft
Mhm.
is the number one sold game ever,
That's true.
and it's a very peaceful game
Yeah,
to a degree. But yeah, no, people want to live that part of society that has been kicked out for good. I
yeah,
don't think it's bad. I don't think we should go back to
yeah,
lawless times, but there's definitely something in all of us that we want to go hunt.
exactly.
We want that kind of primal screaming. We want to scream
Exactly.
at a bear, something like that.
Have you heard of there's like a form of therapy that's called primal screaming. It's very funny.
I've seen in a video. It went viral for like 2 or 3
Oh,
days
really?
of some guys that were like all shirtless, just like screaming in the woods, and it was like, men would rather do this than go to therapy.
Yep. It I don't know what it does though. There's probably some like neurochemical thing that happens like when you like really scream though, because like anytime I've like done that for some performance or something, it's like there's like this clarity in your head that comes out of nowhere. It's like really satisfying. I don't do it a lot, but it's satisfying.
Mine's usually followed with regret.
What do you mean? Like whatever you're screaming?
Yeah, I get like post scream clarity, and
That's funny. So I guess like, just kind of real quick talk about some of our acting experience, some of what we plan or want to do, and a quick outro.
think that's. I thought you were gonna say we got to talk about the movie in 9 minutes.
Oh
I was
no.
like, okay,
No, this is just the first
the
episode. Yeah.
first. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
tracking. I'm tracking. Um, okay, actually, experience.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Really? You would say
Uh,
that?
okay,
I
not
would say
super
you had
diverse.
quite a bit.
I have, I have. I'm just silly. Not to discredit myself.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, across 3 or 4 different local theaters,
Hmm.
been in about 40 shows, both musicals, non-musicals. Those have all been on script. I've done countless number of variety shows at other theaters or at churches or something like that,
Yeah.
where it was multi-script. Been in one a year. It's coming up on a year, which is really wild. Um, was in. It was a part of Bass Reeves and Paramount Plus as a
Uh,
extra soldier, and that's kind of in the future. I think I would like to do more background work. There was absolutely nothing as the strike was going on, which makes sense. And what there was available, I did not want to do
Uh-huh.
because I wouldn't want to somehow get recognized, um, and then get completely blacklisted for, performing during the strike, even though I'm not a part of the union.
Uh-huh.
Still not a good idea. But there's been a lot of neat stuff I've looked at that I haven't actually like applied for.
Mhm.
Uh, Even like a 3-day shoot out of state, and I just think that would be fun. Just take a couple days off and then just to go do that. The Paramount show was local. It only shot like 40 minutes away from where I live, so it worked out pretty well. But that's kind of where I see if if I do any more, which I think it would be healthy for me personally to continue keeping this alive somehow because I
Mhm.
have mentioned it is very therapeutic,
Mhm.
and it is definitely something I'm really into. Keep doing that. I kind of went down to like doing one show a year. That's great, and it's definitely keeping me sane. But I think if I was able to do more, that would just be super cool. So just kind of as these jobs continue to come up, just keep applying for them, see where that goes.
Nice.
Just keep it fun.
Yeah. I didn't do any acting for like a couple years after for graduating from high school, but I kind of on a whim was asked to do a show with you at the place we went to high school, and I did it. I thought that phase of my life was just over, and I only did it because I have all the people that were doing it were like people from high school, and I wanted to hang out because I didn't know if I was ever going to do any acting ever again. But I did it and I just got rehooked, and I'm like super excited about like acting and like storytelling in general, but probably theater in particular. So I'm gonna keep doing shows. I don't know what my limit will be, but I'm gonna keep doing shows. As far as like my experience, I probably have done a similar amount, if not a couple more, like theatrical performances than you have, because it was around the same time. And I guess if you're counting like all the crew work I did, I've definitely done a lot of performances. Basically, just all of middle school and high school. If I wasn't acting, I was on crew for like every show that they ever did. And they did like four shows a year, and um, other camps and stuff like that. And I also have some experience writing. You do too. We wrote a show together, and directing shows, which was super fun. And I think like that's something I want to get back into, just kind of here or there. Like I'm developing this daily writing habit for plays and musicals, and every time one's ready to go, it just sounds so fun to put on a show real quick, see what the audience resonates with, and then rewrite it and then be done with it. Like so here or there, I'll probably do directing to like, direct a show I wrote, but not make it like a, full-time thing or anything.
We did halfway write a musical that
We
over the
did.
summer I actually found the script for, and I was like reading over it and I was like, oh, this is so silly. It was funny though. It was really funny.
Yeah.
A lot of
No, that
those
was,
tunes I
oh
was
my
able to
gosh.
locate though. So
Yeah. It was so
nice
fun
work.
though. Let's see. Yeah. So,
So what
mhm.
in less than 2.5 minutes,
Yep.
whenever you were back on stage, how did that make you feel? That made you want to keep doing it?
Such a good question. Um, I'd say a lot of it was actually the offstage aspects, right? Like just hanging out with everybody and kind of that camaraderie of like figuring something out as a group of like, performances and like blocking and all that. That was super fun. That was one of the main things that got me rehooked. As far as being on stage and the actual acting, one aspect, because what we did was a comedic performance. One aspect was just what silly shit can I do to make people laugh, because that's so like, satisfying. Um and really a really nice like bonding experience. But also, I think it's really funny. I think a huge thing that got me rehooked was also the personal side of like me thinking about a character and working on a character and studying lines. Like all of that got me rehooked as well. And I like go, even though it's like a pretty silly comedic performance, I still like treat it like any other performance I would. And like I'm like doing journal entries of like the person, trying to like get in their headspace and like thinking about, the clear, trying to distill it down to the clear emotions they're displaying at any moment, and, just going like full, method and about it all. So that got me super rehooked. That I just love that process and I want to keep doing that. I'm actually auditioning officially like for Bright Star. Dude, that show is so pretty. If you ever
So
get
I'm
the
gonna add for
chance,
that.
it is so pretty. It is, gosh, it's so beautiful. The music, the story's pretty straightforward and it's pretty good, but man, music is so pretty. Cool. Episode 1.